Hey everybody, welcome back. This is going to be the last part of building the API, and then someday later I will build the front end for this as well. But yeah, so basically where we left off, we were working on the controller for category. So we're going to be adding all these methods here to create a category. Because once the user logs in, I should be able to create a category. I should be able to add a to-do to that category. I should be able to mark a to-do as completed. Because again, what I'm doing is you build based on what you think the actions that are actually going to happen in your app. Okay. So right now I'm just focusing on purely on my user stories instead of just building out a bunch of like restaurants right now, just for the sake of this particular tutorial. Okay, I'm marking a to-do as complete. So those are sort of like the 4 things I imagine someone could do in their app. And then adding a user to a category could be used for like when we want to share it with somebody else. So, cool. So first off, creating a category. So in that case, what we're going to do is router.post. I'm sure that's fine. Router.post, but actually I'd rather just say, give it an actual name, create category. Okay, category. Async request try category. Oh wait, rec.body. Yeah, that's fine. Good. And the only thing is we have to make sure we add. Now how do I handle the username in? Or do I assume that the username is already in there in the service? Let's double check. Category, create category. Wait, create that category. Okay, so I'm assuming that the username is already there. Should I is that the way I should do this? Let's think about that. I should probably pass the user ID. Pass in the user. The reason being is that if I go back over here to the controller, I'm going to want to pass in the rec.body and the rec.user. And again, let me take a look at my schema. Was the user required? I'm going to make sure I just don't run into any like schema issues. No, so that an empty array will be fine. Okay. So then if I go back over here, what I am going to do, what I need to do is actually I need to push it in as a user. So I am going to need the user model here. Okay. And what I'm going to want to do is that not only get that category, but I want to go fetch the user. So const user. Or we'll say user to add. Yeah, it works. Find user by user underscore ID. That works for me. And then what we're going to want to do is take that new category. That users at push. Yep, user to add. And then we're going to want to save that. And again, all that's asynchronous. So we're going to want some, well, I don't need an await there, but I do need an await here. Okay. That should work. So that way, whenever I create a new category, it's always going to at least have the user that was created there. Okay. And now that I think about it, if I go back to my controls, so in that case, the creating a category is fine. But I just realized there's going to be another thing we need to do. I need to get all the categories of a user. Okay. So that we can, so that way we can populate the page on the front end. Because after the user logs in, we're going to generate a page with all their categories, and they can go to their different categories and then find those to-dos. Okay. So this does the job. Basically, we would make a post request with the name, basically just the name of the category. It would pull in the user from the object there, because again we did that in the middleware. That's what this middleware does. It's going to authenticate the user and then stash their information in the request object, and then we're just going to return back the new category. Okay, so that works for that purpose. But now we're going to want to do router dot get. Okay, get users categories. Actually, that should be all lowercase. Get user categories. Okay. And essentially, it should be a try catch block. Oops. Error. Res.status 400. Yep, perfect. Okay. So that way, if there's an error, we get some error message back. So all I really want to do is do a to-do.find. So let's see here. How does it do that? Get all. Now let's see here. Is there a get all? Do I remember adding a get all to a category? I remember adding a get all. I did not. I probably should. Okay. Okay, so add user to category, remove to do, add to do, create. So we never actually talk about anything about fetching categories. So async get users categories. Okay. Pass in the user. And let's see here, how does that work? Users.id. That doesn't feel right. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this is a good situation where I want to, where ChatGPT can be really useful. I know the specific question I want to ask, and sometimes ChatGPT can give me a pretty good insight on how, like, what's the code I want to write. So I'm going to head over to ChatGPT, and let's say using Mongoose, I want to query a model whose property is an array of object IDs, and I want to query if a particular ID is in that array and get all objects who have that ID in the array. Can you show me a sample? Okay. And let's see here. So in this case, my model ref, yep, that's all fine. Yep. Results, I want you to look for how they did the search. Model.find, objects ID is array. Okay, so that does work. Okay. Okay, so that should work. Okay, I don't necessarily target object. We use a find method, query object contains. Okay, so Mongoose does that for us already under the hood. Okay, got it. Because I knew, like, in normal Mongo query syntax, there was some other little symbols you have to use, but it looks like, okay, Mongoose is doing that for me automatically. So thank you, ChatGPT, for helping me answer that question pretty quickly. Okay, that's where ChatGPT is useful. Not for finding, like, the exact code I want to use. I think that's where a lot of people, like, misuse ChatGPT, but trying to find, like, code examples to help me understand what I'm trying to do better when I kind of have a pretty good idea of what I want to do, but I'm just trying to get a better understanding of, like, maybe why I have to do it a particular way that the existing documentation doesn't necessarily get into, or trying to find some examples to kind of help me kind of get my brain flowing to figure out what I want to do is pretty useful. GitHub Copilot is definitely a lot better in actually, like, writing the code, as you've noticed throughout these videos. GitHub Copilot, but you use your AI tool effectively, you can get a lot done pretty quickly. Okay, so get users categories. So that should, again, this should give me all the categories that belong to a particular user, and that should return the categories. So that's good. That does the job. So let me go back to my controller here. So in this case, we would just basically res.json await category service get users categories rec.user, and then that would be that. That should do the job. Should give me the list of categories that user has. Okay, and then we can then get that categories. Okay. And that makes me realize we need to be able to get all the to-dos in a particular category. So get all to-dos of a category. Okay, and do I have, okay, yep, that's fine for category to-dos. Yep, that makes sense as a URL. Because we'll pass in the URL of the particular category we're searching for there, the ID of the category. But I don't think we have a method for that. So let me go back to my category service. Get, remove to-dos, add to-dos. You know, let's see here. Async, get to-dos, get category to-dos. Okay. And this is going to really be category ID. Okay, so if that's the category ID, then what I'm going to want is I want to try catch block again. Because again, we want to make sure we handle those errors. Yep, that's fine with me. Okay, and then what we're going to do is just return, but I'm going to need the to-do model here. So we did need import to-do. And actually, I might have been doing this already in my to-do service. That might be where my thinking is going wrong. So let's go back to my services. What do I have in my to-do service? Complete to-do, remove to-do. Okay, if I didn't have anything about getting to-do, so that's fine. We'll put that in the category service. Category to-dos, bring in the category ID, and we'll return to-do. Okay, dot find where the category is the category ID. Okay, cool. Awesome. So that should give me all the to-dos whose category is that category. And again, that should be awaited. Okay. So now if I go back to my controller, get category to-dos, now I can just do try catch. Yep. And then here, what do I want to do? Yep, that's about right. Counts category service, get category. Nope, it would just be ID. So basically const the category would actually just equal rec.params.id. And then we would go get all those to-dos. And then we would return res.json to-dos. Perfect. Okay, so that would get me the to-dos. Wonderful. Now I want to be able to create a to-do. So it'll be a router.post create to-do. We don't really need the additional slash there, so let's get rid of that. It's not regex, but this should be a string, so that's probably why it was trying to give me that other slash there. Okay, and then we're going to do try catch block. Then we'll do a catch. Yep. And again, we're going to have, okay, the user, const user equals rec.user. Okay, and then we should actually probably have a category ID in the URL. Category ID, but that should be a param. So const category ID equals category ID. Okay, and then we're going to want to create a to-do. And now let me see how we do that in my to-do service, because I think we do have something for creating a to-do in the to-do service. So the create a to-do, passing the to-do, and we're just creating it right from there. Okay, and again, how's my category model? My category model, no, not the to-do model. Well, as a track it. Okay, so basically we have to go first create the to-do. So first, back to the controllers. First thing we want to do is create a to-do. So const create the to-do. Okay. Yep. And did we need the user? I don't think we need the user. To-do service. To-do service. I don't remember asking for the user when we do a create. Nope. So going back to the controllers, we don't need this user piece. Okay, because it's just basically the rect.body that'll create the to-do. Okay, but then we need to add the to-do to the category. So let me just actually see if I have, did I create a method for that? Add user to category, add to-do, category to-do. So let's do this, category ID, because that's what I have. So really what I want to do is get the category first. Const category equals category.find by ID category, and again that's going to be an await. So there we go. Okay, so basically I'm going to get the category there, and then this all kind of follows the same. Oh, but wait a second. Well, it's probably the same story there anyways. And then add to-do to category, same story here. Probably give it the ID. Then we'll do a const category equals await category find by ID. Okay, and then it's going to push it into there, save it. Okay, that all works for me. So back to the controller. We create the to-do. Now I can do this. I can say add to-do to the category, await category service, add to-do to category, category ID, which I have, and the to-do. I don't think we really need the user for any of this. To-do category ID. Perfect. Okay. So I can create a category. I can create a to-do. I can get all the to-dos of a category. Okay. Now I want to be able to add a user to a category. So it'll be like a rec that, really it's more of like a rec, router.put. So say slash add user the category. And honestly, we'll just do it all through URL user ID. Okay, so this way I don't have to like do too much fetching there. Okay, and then we do a try catch block. Okay. So I'm going to modify the function we have in the service. add user to the category. So this is really going to be user ID and category ID. So we'll just say like here const category equals await category of find ID const user equals await user.findById. Let me just make sure I've imported user. Yep. Good. And then that all works out the same as it was before. So we push the user as one of the users of the category. Okay, good. Okay. So that makes sense. We go back to the controller. Spare that out. Okay, res.json. Await category service. Add user to category. Rect.params category ID, user ID. Perfect. Okay, yeah, that's that. And then marking it to do is complete. It's also going to be a put. Complete to do with a to do ID. So I'm not following RESTful conventions, which technically would be a little bit more proper form for me to go back and like build out REST, the full REST routes for each resource, and then kind of use them in conjunction with each other in my logic on the front end. But also here, I'm also going to make it easier in the front end because I'm going to have endpoints that just do all the logic, so my front end can just provide the specific things it needs for those specific actions. Okay, there's no perfect architecture. But I'd rather keep things a little bit simpler on the front end and let a lot of the heavy lifting data-wise happen on the back end, which you can still do otherwise, just different ways when you compose your services and different approaches. This is just the way I did it here off the fly. Okay. To-do service complete rect.params.id. Yep, I think that's right. And then again, catch error res.error message. Good. Let me just make sure that to-do service.complete method is exactly working that way. Add to the category, remove to-do. Wait, what did I do? Right to the controller. It's in the to-do service. So let me go to the to-do service and see if it does that. Okay, and to-do service has it's called complete to-do. So let me go back to that controller, and it does take in the ID, but it is going to be called complete to-do according to the service. Complete to-do. So yeah, again, don't always assume that GitHub Copilot or ChatGPT knows what they're doing. Okay, they can be very helpful, but you still got to know your code, so that way you can double check what they're doing. Okay, they can speed you up, but you still got to act like their supervisor, which means it's hard to supervise someone doing something that you don't know how to do yourself. Coffee. Okay, so I think we should have all the things open so that way we can test out all these routes. So last we checked out, we do have a token. So I'm going to take that token and put that in as my authorization header. So we have a bearer token. Okay. So there it is. Put the token in there. Okay, good. So that way I don't have to worry about that going forward. I'm authorized. Okay, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to test to make sure that Control X, it works without, that if I try without the token, that it'll give me an error. So like the first thing I want to do is try to create a category. So we're just literally going to test all these routes in order. So first one is route.post / create a category, which again, if I go back to the categories model, all I really need to do is provide a name. So let's try that out. Okay, and that first route is called, back to the controller, create category. Okay, body, name, main. Then I'm going to hit post. Should give me an error because I took out the token. Okay, see, I got an error. Cannot post. Although that's not the error I expected. Oh, okay, yep, the controller is not registered. Okay, I still gotta export the router, which is there, and then I gotta go register the router in my middleware. So import category router or category controller. Okay, and then I actually gotta app.use / category. There we go. And it doesn't like certain things. Cannot find module category. Oh, I probably have to go back into here and make sure that everything I imported has a .js at the end. Yep. Here we go again. Okay, and then I gotta go double check that all my services imported everything correctly. .js, 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 auth middleware, .js. Am I good? Yes, I'm good. So let's try that again. Oh, because it's really /category /create category. Cannot read properties of undefined, reading split. Not the error expected. But it is an error because I don't have the token. Like if I put the token in there, that's going to fix. That's going to happen because it still tried to send the authorization header since I dropped down this box, but it was empty, so it's not finding anything in that second place. So if I hit send now, see, it works. Okay, so I was able to create the category. Okay, so I'm going to want that category ID so we can use that for future things. Let's actually add a to-do to that category. Okay, so again, that's a different controller endpoint. Get category to-dos, create a to-do to the category. So it's create to-do category ID. Okay. Create to-do / the category ID. Okay, and there we need to, it's the subject, it's the property if I remember right. And we're going to just say eat breakfast. Okay, so you see how that's hanging? That means there's something incomplete about that post. So let's just hear, did I ever send the response? No, I never did send the response. So it's doing the thing, it just never sent I never actually said to send a response. So const result equals, and then I need to actually send res.json result. Okay. So let's change this to eat lunch and try this again. Okay, I assume seems that like it worked out. I don't see any errors, so I'm assuming that it was all successful. So we'll know if we see all the to-dos when we go get the category to-dos. Okay, so we're gonna do router.get category to-dos. rec.get category to-dos. Get category to-dos. This is the endpoint. And if I hit that, I hit send. Okay, no. The category does not have any to-dos in it, so that did not work the way intended. Okay, we'll have to do this in the next video. So I'll see you guys in the next one, and we'll continue from there.